Can't say she's really interested. She'll take questions in about 6 months. I'm beginning to figure out her own language. But it was her 1 month old. I guess when you're 1 month, you get birthdays. So yesterday was her 1 month birthday. Is that right? Yeah. She's got the hog gear on. And she's burping. What do you think? Thought I'd introduce the world. Everybody keeps asking for questions, so. She does call the hogs in her sleep. A lot of times her hands are above her head. So she's all hog. We can't talk about her weight. Jen said we can't talk about her weight.
We still got to ask you that question.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't bring it in as a buffer. It was funny that when I've seen, obviously, guys bringing their child to press conferences and stuff, I've always kind of like, is that after a win or a loss? To try and build a barrier. But just a couple things, announcement-wise. Want me to start? Just to kind of continue that theme, spirit of life. Had obviously some bad news last week or this week with the passing of Pat, and actually later today, myself and the 4 captains and Jay Red are going to pop over to his service. The family's asked me to say a few words, so I'll obviously do that. And it was, Pat's a guy that I met the first time here. Our relationship has grown over the last 5 years, and a guy that obviously loves the Hogs, done a lot for the program, but the relationships that he built, some of our guys worked out there. Alex and I have played phone tag. I know he's real close with Alex the last couple of days. Santos worked for him as well. Santos made sure he wanted to go, so we adjusted our whole day of practice, moved everything back an hour so we can take advantage of that and give the final respects to Pat, a really, really good man. I do want to clean up also last night. We had some guys stuck on the elevator because of the beauty of social media. I knew it was going to get out there pretty quick. When I was coming down to meetings, I was rushing out of our meetings, watch practice, so it was between our evening practice before our team meeting. I guess Ryan Pulley called it. Ryan was trying to hop on the elevator as well, and he didn't quite make it on. He said, "You all going to get stuck," and that's what happened. Just so everybody has a perspective, this is the first one that's been captured on social media. I would say in my 12 years of head coaching, it's probably my 20th to 30th head coaching experience with a stuck elevator. It happens quite a bit, more than you would think. We tell them, obviously, to not over stuff, but it makes me think all the time. I was a linebacker coach, co-coordinator at Kansas State, and we had guys come down to snack the night before the game, and we were in a little boutique hotel, and I believe I had almost 18 guys stuck on this little elevator that was jammed for 2 hours. And my Will linebacker, who was the leading tackler in the country that year, was claustrophobic on top of it, and can get into a scary situation. All of our guys handled it well last night. Some of them better than others, but we got them out. Everything is fine. Everything's good today. So just to address a couple of those things. Saturday, just to put his perspective, we'll have a tough, aggressive practice today. We had a good one yesterday. By new NCAA rules, we're allowed 3 days of heavy contact during the course of a work week. So we went yesterday, today, and then we'll go on Saturday. Obviously, we'll open up, especially the back half of the practice on Saturday, which will be some of our ones and twos working, but also developmental work. And then we have fan day on Saturday as well from 4 to 5, I believe, that we're excited. Hopefully, we'll get weather to cooperate with that. But really like where our team's at. They've continued to grow, progress. Kind of divided fall camp into 3 different phases. The first 9 practices were in conjunction with summer school too, so we really had to modify and adjust our schedule as it fit our player schedule with academics. Now we're in a 2-week phase where we're really unlimited by anything other than the NCAA rules, so we don't have class conflicts, don't have guys that have schedules outside of the game of football, and it really allows us to kind of get into the meat and potatoes of fall camp. I've compared it to I've always divided our season up kind of into categories, and so we have our first 4 games. 3 of those 4 are non-conference games, that divided up. Game 5 then starts a 4-game stretch with South Carolina, Alabama, Auburn, and Ole Miss, where we've got 4 weeks of SEC grind, kind of like what we're at right now. We're in the grind of fall camp. And in the back half of camp, we'll go 10 days of practice before our opener, kind of like the end of our season where we have a non-conference game and then 3 weeks of SEC grind. So trying to always teach our guys, it's not just the day in front of you, it's how you handle your business today on what can affect you 2 months from now, 3 weeks from now, whatever it is. So I like the way our guys have matured and moved forward. A couple of injury-wise, I was going to run through them. I know you guys always point them out, but unfortunately, guys have gotten injured, but we're really good in getting guys back. Carl Ressler joined us back yesterday. Really is full go, no problems. Dre Greenlaw practiced as well the last 2 days. Now, we might monitor or limit him as we go forward, but right now he's full go. B. Martin has had a soft tissue issue with his back. We tried to progress him, but wasn't going the direction, so we gave him a few medical treatments that require him to sit a few days, so he's out right now. Jeremy Patton practiced about half the day yesterday, should be full go, I think, by the weekend. Brito Tutts fully engaged. Will Gregg had a concussion on the end of last week, but is full go today. He'll be 100% with us. He's practiced the last 2 days in no contact. Dylan Hayes, who got his ankle rolled up on Saturday, is full go again today. Practiced a little bit yesterday. Cole Hedlund's full go. Practiced very, very well yesterday and should go again today and perform well. Armand Watts, who got dinged up obviously at the end of the scrimmage the other day, took a shot to the elbow with just a bruise and is back out there going full go. So Jay Red and obviously TJ are still out by NCAA rules, so they and Alexi Baptiste is still recovering from his foot injury, so those guys can't be with us but are full go progressing, and every indication is Jay Red for sure, and probably TJ should be able to join us as soon as school starts, and TJ may be able to join us for that first game. That's still a little bit up in the air. So what's that? Scuda is 100, not 100%, but his was really kind of a mild MCL. He practiced yesterday limited. Today we'll probably don't know if we'll let him go the full time, but he'll be, I think Saturday should be 100% ready to go.
So Dre took contact?
Yeah, Dre's been going all through practice, scout periods, team periods. Again, just from a pure, by his history, I don't know how much we'll go every day with him consistently. We may go, during camp, you tend to go a little bit more during the week than you do during game week. Once you get into game week, they're really Tuesday, Wednesday are tough days, and you have really Monday, Wednesday, or Monday, Thursday, Friday to relieve, to rest, and that's what we're kind of simulating.
So what kind of camp has Blake Johnson had?
Yeah.
Is he going to be the guy, and kind of maybe, how would you describe his journey to get to this?
Yeah, kind of a neat story of Blake. So Blake was obviously a California kid that we recruited, wanted to get him here on campus, performed well at camp, gave him a scholarship, he committed, and came in, and I did expect him possibly to compete that freshman year. Didn't see the growth of our punter here on campus, Toby, who's doing really, really good for San Diego. So it delayed his involvement, but also allowed him to grow. I think he's a kid physically and mentally needed him to grow a little bit. And since the timeout last spring, I heard you had fun with that, has really been on a path of really, really good. I know on Monday and Tuesday he hit the ball extremely well. I give the specialist Wednesday off. They get a little special treatment on Wednesday to kind of just bring their body back, but it's hitting the ball extremely well, and excited about it to see where it goes. Yeah, he kicked. So he kicked Tuesday, and then today we'll do a double dip field. No, I'm sorry. He kicked Monday and Tuesday. Today he'll have a day off, and then Saturday you'll be able to see him kick live Saturday. Yes, it is. I tell Blake Mazza has had a nice camp, so I would say him and Cole battling out for the field goal job, and then Connor Limpert and Mazza are battling out for the kickoff job. Probably been the best thing, to be quite honest, is his consistency, not only from, a lot of times if he was hot one day, then the next day, but his consistency from day to day to day to day has been good. A lot of times he was, hot and cold day to day, but today, since fall camp started, he's been very hot.
With your running backs, it was Devlon and then David, and Devlon, Malik, Devlon, Chase. You got so many talented guys.
Yeah.
What do you want to see when the season starts?
Well, again, probably just like every position, consistency, but I would be the first to probably tell you that since fall camps arrived, has had the biggest change within our program, just because you added the depth of David Williams and you brought Chase in, who you knew was good off film, but you don't know till they get here. Malik was involved in the spring. So first off, Devwa done a lot of really good things to get to where he is. I think the applied pressure of David Williams and Chase and Malik has helped him realize, like, I am not the man, all by myself. If I want carries, I got to earn them. So he's been really, really good. Has been locked in, been phenomenal since fall camp started. He's probably been one of the greatest assets to David. I'll let David answer that, but it seems like David and him are always talking, always conversing about football and where we're going. David, on Saturday night, I texted him. It was about 8 or 9 o'clock. I was watching some of the inductee speeches and just hit him and said, "Hey, how'd your first couple carries as a Razorback Live feel?" And he said, "Great. I was trying to press the envelope." He wanted to make a big splash, and really the only 2 negative plays he had were some 3rd and shorts that he tried to turn into home runs. And those home runs will come. Just play the play. And couldn't be more happy with him. Toughness, physicality, run performance, but also block protection. And he's got soft hands. Malik has been good. But I think the biggest surprise has been Chase. Not a surprise. I shouldn't say that. The best new news would be Chase. I'm sure a lot of you saw that play. I mean, to me, the definition of a great running back is when you can make something out of nothing. That's been a quarterback, right? When it breaks down, what are they going to do? And Chase has the ability to make something of nothing in a hurry. He's got a great acceleration. He's a tough kid. He's not real big, which behind big linemen works advantageous that you can't really see when he's coming out, and he comes out in a hurry. So those guys in particular, and then you throw Kendrick Jackson and Hayden Johnson in at fullback, it's a good group.
Is Hank the guy that you would eventually add more weight to, or you don't have to be?
No, you're talking Chase Hayden? Okay. I know you guys don't see him. When he takes his pads off and he walked through today. I mean, he's fairly chiseled up, and I don't know what thickness brings him, other than the fact during time here he will put on weight and he'll get thicker and become more athletic. But I've been very impressed with his toughness and his strength. I mean, he I think is one of those guys that maybe doesn't want to be labeled as a small back or a bouncer or an outside runner. He's been very, very productive between the tackles as well.
How do you feel about the backup offensive line?
Backup offensive line. Always want to be better. I think that as a whole, our offensive line at times has shown there's been great progress. Our twos are a little bit of a work in progress in the fact that we're trying to solidify who it is. We're giving some of the younger guys a couple opportunities, moving some guys around. Jake Rawlson literally can go from tackle to tackle with the twos and be very, very good. Zach Rogers is a little bit ambidextrous too. He can be center and guard. Jalen Merrick has played both tackle and guard, so it's more about, I would say, Nate, probably trying to find our top 7 or top 8, our best swing tackle, our best swing guard, and our best third center, and go from there.
Aside from those 3, who's really competing
For
kind of backup role?
I'd say a tackle, Paul Ramirez, Dalton Wagner, Jalen Merrick, but then Jalen's in discussion at guard. Obviously Jake Rawlerson. The thing about Jake, he's, I don't know if he's 25 pounds heavier, 20 pounds heavier than when he first got here. And when he first got here, he was underdeveloped. He just hadn't developed the way that I think a 4th-year player in college football should be. And he had to rely on just trying to survive. A lot of times when kids don't have confidence to play physically the way they need to, they revert to trying to put a Band-Aid. They try to position or get in a way or revert to some things to survive. And once you have enough power and strength in our program, you don't have to do those things. And on Saturday, I saw him revert back. So all this week, I've been hammering him about, listen, bro, you put on 20 pounds. You got great strength. You got great mobility, flexibility, and power. Use them. You don't have to put a Band-Aid on this anymore. So I would say those 3 are probably the best. Yeah. So what I did is, some of you may or may not, I don't know if it was written about, but I went to Paul really after Saturday's scrimmage, and again, Austin performed very well. And then what I did at halftime is I wanted to let Austin take a seat, but more than anything, I wanted to let Cole and Ty both have 2 opportunities with a 1-0 line. I knew I was going to get 4 series. They didn't really do anything to separate themselves with those 4 series. So I told Paul, let's look at Tuesday and Wednesday. We had 2 mirrored practices. Let's give each one of those guys their day as a number 2. So yesterday was Ty's day as a number 2. Cole didn't take any reps. He just basically observed unless the 3s went. Austin took all the 1s, and Ty performed very, very well. Did some good things. Obviously things that he can always improve upon, but I thought he overall handled the day well. He got in flow. The thing I love about Ty, in a little bit of a sense, that he's a lot like Austin. He does what you ask him to do. He's going to play within the system. He manages the game. He's got a football sense. With Pops in his background, he's an absolutely great kid. The kids love him, so that's there. I think Cole brings a different set of strengths. He's probably got the livest arm out of the group, which can be good and bad if you use it right. He's got to play within what we're asking, but I am very excited. I just saw him walking off the field. I said, "You ready?" And he just was smiling ear to ear, so I think he's eager to show today as well.
It's kind of a multi-part question based on the new NCAA camp rules.
Mm-hmm.
How many extra days of practice did you add to get in 29?
Right.
And will you have any double days where you have a super light walkthrough workout? And then do you like the new rules?
Yeah, so great question, if I'll remember them all in order. But so really, ever since I became a coach, the standard normal rule has been 29 days, all right? So that's never really wavered. I literally went back in my 11 years prior to this year as a head coach. I had never used all 29 days, ever in my entire time. I would think we polled our coaches, and there are very few coaches that even said the same thing. It's usually somewhere around that 25 to 27. So what I did is I took X number of days back from our first game, which is on Thursday, which is where the NCAA rule kind of lays it out. You could count back, and I counted back, giving everybody I'm a big believer in, the day off for us during the non-school year is Sunday. I want to give everybody the Lord's Day off, have guys a chance to go to church. As long as there's not the element of the game on Saturday, to me the best day of rest is Sunday. So we've always given our guys Sunday off, and that even goes back to my past history the last 11 years. But on Sundays, what we had done is we may have brought them over to lift, brought them over and met with them. We would have fan day, we would have family day, we would have a media day with you guys. That got eliminated by this new rule. The only thing you can do by rule now is bring them over and make them get treatments if they're injured. You can make them have a meal, or do anything that's promoting the health of their body, all right? What I've done is I've kind of said, this is your day off, my friend, right? If you're injured, I want you to come over, but the day is yours. We have a soft tissue scheduled for an hour and a half. If they want to come over, they can. I schedule no meals. They get more than enough meals. They got the Jones Center, they got Red Card, which allows them to go around town, and then we provide them enough money in their scholarship checks that's not an issue. So their day, they have a day to themselves. They want to do whatever they got to do. Some guys might live an hour away from home, want to go home. So that's what we've done. I have 29 scheduled practices from the time we started on that Thursday to the time that we play on that Thursday against FAMU. Every day is slotted for 29 practices, all right, with the days off that I have on Sunday. I don't intend to use every one of them. When I feel we need a break, I might pocket it, and then I have one day to play with. I wouldn't expect me to pocket more than 1 to 2, but we'll see how that plays out. The new rules are the new rules. I don't tend to comment whether I like them or don't like them. I just live by them. It's kind of like everything else in life. Just show me the rules and I'll play by them, and we'll make it work from there. And I think that's part of that, selling the kids, as coaches, I remember 3-a-days. I remember days when we would go on the field at 7 a.m. and stay till 7 p.m. and never leave. I sound like one of those old school coaches, but it's true. And the guys that I heard from when I was a player used to say things. So it's just kind of the way we live now, and it's what it is.
So you won't have a double day unless it's one of those.
It's illegal.
Well, you can have a light walkthrough.
Well, we do that. So, all right, so like today, it's not a double day. Don't get me in trouble, Tom. All right, so this morning they came over at 8 o'clock. I had them from PBR from 8 to 8:15. 8:15 to 9:15, there were OD meetings. We blow the horn. They got 10 minutes to transition to a special teams walk. I had them from 9:25 to 9:35. From 9:35 to 10 o'clock, they have an OD walk for 25 minutes. And then at 10 o'clock, we have a brunch. Brunch till 1:30, all right, so they get a 3.5-hour break. They're allowed to go do whatever they want to do. Guys that are injured will get rehab. We'll bring them back over this afternoon. They'll have a taping session where they get taped in flights. And then we'll have another special teams meeting for 15 minutes, half-hour OD meeting. We'll transition them for 15 minutes, and then we'll have a 15-minute pre-practice workout and a 23-period practice. We'll give them an hour-and-a-half break. I always give them an hour-and-a-half break, barring any delays due to elevator failure. And we give them an hour-and-a-half, and then in the evening, at the end of an hour and a half, we come in and have a team meeting. I have them for half an hour, so I'll express my views. Last night, Coach Enos gave about a 10-minute presentation on life motivation. I give every one of my 9 assistants an opportunity to address the entire team during the next 2 weeks. Dan did a Tyson video last night. It was pretty cool. Talked about some things he's learned in his life, and it's really cool for me to watch our defensive players respond to Dan. Paul will give a message tonight, and then we'll work our way through the staff.
What do you think about the guys like K-Rich who are on scholarship? There's also guys like Brandon Morgan who are really looking pretty good for us.
Yeah.
What do you think about the walk-ons?
Well, the NCAA allows you to have 85 scholarship players. You know, I wish that number would bump because I think it's an outdated number. We went through this period where it was unlimited, then it got restricted due to budgets, and now I think we're in that period where it would be kind of neat to jump it to 90 again because I think it would really help things out. But we got to work off that 85 number. Now the NCAA is also, there's this whole thing about if you recruit them, you can't put them on because they count as initial, and we're out of initials. So even if I had a scholarship right now, I can't give one to Grant because we recruited him. So there's all these dynamics. But when that day comes, it's a day that I absolutely, probably one of the most enjoyable professional days of my life when you get to give a kid a scholarship. I remember when I told K. Rich he got a scholarship. I remember when I've been able to reward Reed Miller, you know, Carl Ressler in the past, some of the specialists. There's a kid named Ricky Wagner who was a free agent this year in the NFL, and I remember we recruited him out of high school. He played 2 years of high school football. He's a 6'5", 230-pound tight end, and ended up getting drafted in the 5th round. And last year signed a contract for I believe $9 million a year. And to call him and talk about his progress from the day when he sat on my couch, and I remember when I gave him a scholarship, he cried like. Is the most I've ever seen a player cry. So those moments are very special. They're very cool. Probably a long answer to your question, but it's so rewarding. And I don't just give them out now. Anybody that gets one, I'm not. You know, it's not like I'm handing them out just to feel good. I've really literally given one scholarship during my entire coaching career that was just we had one left over, and the person had a great story.
As far as the contributions of the walk-on, the guys on your team.
Yeah, well, it's paramount. You know, Ryder Lucas last year, who was a walk-on defensive back from Texas, when we went and statistically broke down our special teams last year and compared them to statistical analysis from other SEC football teams, he was one of the most productive special teams players in the entire conference, just for number of snaps played and his production on every play. So there's a case in point of a guy that, even though a lot of people don't know him right now, he's as deserving of scholarship as anybody.
When classes start, and assuming Montero arrives, are you at the 85?
With him in it. Yeah, so I've reserved one. Great question. So that's a great question, right? So when you request, or when you recruit a student athlete, or in our state, right, for instance, like even people that are very close to our program, even possibly right down the road, that you aren't quite sure if they're going to make it academically, you have to make a decision, how many of those guys can you recruit? So if you decide you're going to take 3 academic at-risk guys and all 3 make it, and you were only counting on one of them to make it, you got a problem. If you count on all 3 of them make it and none of them make it, and now you're 3 deficient, now you got a problem. So I think there's a working number there that the NCAA could probably help us out a lot, but it's very difficult, you know, because I'm a big believer too. So, you know, Jeremy Patton came to us supposedly as an at-risk student, right, a non-qualifier out of high school. Took a little bit longer to get here than we wanted. Took, I believe, 2 summer school courses, and then there's 1 summer school course. Not like 90%. He scored 100%, and he was beaming ear to ear when he was telling me this. And to know that a kid, and we're not doing their work, we're giving them support, we're giving them a formula, we're giving them the tools to have success. And when kids see that and flourish, a lot of times it carries them into so many other areas of their life. It's unbelievable, you know. Saw the feedback yesterday with, obviously, a quarterback on the West Coast made a couple comments about academics and football don't fit. I think that's, for wherever they're at, that might work. For me, it's a premium, you know. There's so many times where maybe a kid doesn't have academic success and he's a mediocre player, but all of a sudden great academic success correlates to great athletic success, and vice versa. It's one of the greatest things we have going in this world of college athletics.
You got some.
Development at nose tackle, importance of that position is report.
Yeah.
Can you play several, or is
Great question. I think probably on Sunday, we had a 3-hour personnel meeting, and that was the one position. Now, I was a former nose guard, so I'm a little biased, walk-on and a nose guard. I'm biased to big people that are slow. But that position, Bijan, we knew was going to be all right. Capper had done some really good things. But to throw Dylan Hayes into that mix, each one of those 3 guys probably are, I think, you could say they're a 25-rep guy in a game day, but if you ask them to do 50, you're going to have a diminishing returns. Those 3 guys, Bijan, Austin Capps, and Dylan Hayes, those 3 kind of complement each other really well, and to me, form a pretty good group of nose guards. And what I've witnessed and seen in this league is when you got 2 guys, it's a good thing, but if you got 3, you got something special, and I think those 3 form that task pretty good.
You've got some inexperience, talking about game inexperience. At different positions.
Right.
How would you sum up kind of the talent potential you believe you have?
Again, good point. I do believe this, all right? So in fall camp, for those guys that don't have that game experience, the more I can put the heat on them, the more we can just put the screws to them and stress them, the better off we're going to be. So we've really tried to do that with practice as well as this Saturday. You never know how they're going to handle the moment till the moment is there. So we're going to try to prep them, but we stress them. We try to have a lot of our older players. I've asked them to, when they give player talks, to talk about that, to make sure that they try to get ready. But my old coach Hayden Fryer always used to try and say that we want to make Monday to Friday as hard as possible. So Saturday is as easy as it can get, because we all know it's difficult. But we just keep preaching. It's not what happens during the course of the game. It's how you react to it and see what happens. I do, just by pure numbers. Defensively, we got a bunch of guys, even if they haven't played, if it's their first time playing, they haven't played a lot, like TJ Smith, case in point, traveled, went to every game. He could be a potential starter for us, Scooter played a little bit more at the end of the year than not. Then you have some raw guys like a Hayden Henry. You got guys like Cameron Curl. You got guys, Kyrie Fisher. You have guys up front, Jonathan Marshall, who redshirted last year, has never played. There's going to be a lot of guys playing significant time that, Gabe Richardson, a junior college player, even Randy Ramsey, who we like what he does. Randy hasn't played a tremendous amount of football for us, even though he's a 4th-year player, So it's going to be, our back end is heavily loaded, but up front defensively and then offensively, you got a running back, even though he's never played here. David Williams has played a lot of football. Austin and Frank play a lot of football. Yoda's played a lot of football. B. Walls played a lot of football. Austin Cantrell's played a lot of football. Jay Red's played a lot of football. So there's 6 or 7 guys offensively that at least we know we can hang our hat on, have done it. Now we got to keep bringing those other guys. We've kind of coded those guys out. I had our coaches go through and label green, yellow, red. Green are guys that have done it, proved it, and could show us. Yellow, we got to proceed with caution. We know they can do it, but we don't want to throw them into the mix until they're ready or they're prepared. And then red means we got a lot of work to do. And obviously a little bit on both sides of the ball.